Hello, and welcome to my 10,000 subscriber special. I just wanted to start by saying a huge thank you to everyone who has helped me reach this milestone by watching and sharing my videos, as well as subscribing to my channel. When I started making YouTube videos, I think it's fair to say I never thought I'd be able to reach as wide of an audience as I have, and I just wanted to say that I'm extremely grateful for that. With that, I've put out a few community posts over the last couple of weeks saying that I wanted to celebrate this milestone by answering a few of your questions that you had for me. And I did get quite a lot of questions, so if I wasn't able to answer your question on this occasion, I am sorry. But if this is popular, as I'm hoping it will be, then there's the possibility for a second video on this. But I've of course got to start by answering your questions regarding the coronavirus and how it affects me and my travel. To put it short, I'm not travelling at the moment. I think that's pretty much the same situation for everyone else. I live in the UK, which is currently in lockdown, so I'm obeying that and staying at home and, doing my bit, I guess. And I shan't be travelling again until it's safe to do so. That said, I do have over 20 videos already pre-recorded, so I'll still be uploading every Friday as normal, and as soon as it's safe to get back to travelling, believe me, I can't wait to get back to travelling, so I shan't be hanging around as soon as it's safe to do so. With that all out of the way, let's get to answering your questions. I have, and still do, watch a lot of trip reports on YouTube. I really enjoyed the idea of almost feeling as if you were travelling all while sat at home, an armchair traveller if you like. After a few years of watching these kinds of videos, I was finally old enough to start travelling myself, and, almost as an afterthought, I had the idea that I could have a go at making a few videos myself. So one evening, in July 2019, I took the Caledonian Sleeper in their old seated coach and recorded the experience and uploaded it to YouTube. And if you're curious to what my first attempt at a trip report was like, then you can find this video in the top right hand corner of your screen just now. And I chuckle because I'm sure you'll agree, and those who have seen the video will agree, it was not the best trip report ever published to YouTube by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a start. And most importantly, I really enjoyed capturing my travel experiences and editing them into something that I hope people enjoy and find informative. While I do enjoy watching videos with voiceover commentary, and there are lots and lots of people out there who do a very good job of making this kind of video, I believe that travel is about more than just what you see, but also the sounds and the smells you experience while travelling. Now, obviously I can't allow you to experience the smells of travel in a video, but I can, to the fullest extent possible, allow you to enjoy the sounds associated with my travels. With that in mind, I feel that adding a voice over commentary and or music for that matter would take away from this raw travel experience. Hence, I do the commentary in the form of captions as opposed to reading out the captions to you, essentially. So for recording my videos, I use a GoPro Hero 7 Black along with a gimbal just to smoothen things out a little bit. Up until recently, I've been editing my videos on my 5-year-old iPad Air 2, believe it or not. But in the last couple of weeks, I've built a new PC designed with editing videos in mind. And very soon you will start to see the first of these videos that I've been edited on my PC, and I hope you agree with me that they look at least a little bit better. In terms of thumbnails, I keep it simple and use Paint 3D. While I'm sure you will agree that this is not by any stretch of the imagination the most advanced photo editing software there is, it gets the job done in a simple and effective manner. Yes, I really want to make a trip report on a boat. Europe has quite a few overnight ferries that I think would be really interesting to do and make a video on. I guess my dream trip by boat would be Southampton, England to New York with Cunard. But I don't need to say that boats aren't exactly the fastest mode of transportation, but it's kind of cool that what is essentially a small city can float across the Atlantic and big oceans and wide bodies of water, which is it's amazing, really. Probably, although I would almost always choose train over bus where possible, as I just find that trains are way more comfortable and overall a more enjoyable experience. I tend to find you can see the scenery a little bit better from a train, and one of the really big benefits of travelling by train, I find, is just the ability to be able to get up and wander around if you want and stretch your legs. That said, there are a few really cool trips to be made by bus. There's a couple of sleeper buses around the world I'd like to try. Namely, there's one in California and another one in Japan, so I'll maybe consider doing them in the future. For this question, I'm going to break it into two parts: my favourite local hauled stock and my favourite stock that's part of a multiple unit, like an EMU or a DMU. So my favourite local hauled stock would have to be the BR Mark II coach. Well, definitely not the fastest. I've always found them very comfortable, and they have a really nice consistent sound, and I used to take it on the Caledonian Sleeper on the old seated coach quite a bit, and I just found it really easy to drift off to sleep with the sound. I mean, just listen to this. My favourite multiple unit by a long way has to be the N700 series of Shinkansen train in Japan. Even at 175 miles an hour, they're really smooth, extremely comfortable, lots of leg room. The seat itself is, well padded and comfortable to sit in. And the train itself, I don't think I need to say this, but it's a true engineering marvel. I tend to travel during the week for a couple of reasons. Firstly, I have a part-time job that involves working weekends, so I tend to travel on my days off during the week. Secondly, I find that places are almost always much busier over the weekend, which makes it much more challenging to film a video. I tend to prefer an empty train or plane for filming purposes. Just makes it a lot more, I don't feel as if I'm standing out so much when the train or plane's empty as opposed to when it's busy when I'm filming. That said, it's not impossible to film if the particular train or flight I'm on is full, but rather just a bit more challenging. So the worst and the best were both part of the same trip. I'll start with the worst, which was when I took Amtrak's Southwest Chief back in September. And on the morning of the second day of the trip, we sadly hit a car while travelling at speed, killing both the car's occupants. It was a sad day. It's just a reminder of how quickly we can lose everything. It was, it's not just a sad day for the family who've lost a loved one, but also for the engineer and the conductor who had to witness the incident, as well as everyone on the train who had to helplessly sit through the ordeal. I was lucky to be sat on the other side of the train from where the wreck of the car went past, but I was speaking to some passengers who they were sat on the left side of the train, and they said what they saw wasn't particularly nice, so it wasn't a great ordeal for anyone, really. My best travel experience was crossing America by rail with Amtrak in a roomette. So I started by taking the Cardinal from New York City to Chicago. That's the one that goes via Washington and through the Appalachian Mountains. Followed by the Southwest Chief, which I mentioned a moment ago, from Chicago to Los Angeles. So this was my first experience of Amtrak, and what an introduction. So on the Cardinal, I knew I was going to be in a roomette, which I really enjoyed. But towards the end of that trip, I knew, or thought rather, that 2 nights in coach beckoned for me once I'd connected off the Cardinal and onto the Southwest Chief in just a few hours' time. On a side note, I don't think a lot of people realise that I more or less just connected from one long-distance train to another without staying in Chicago for any real length of time. I was there for about 6 hours, which was, it wasn't really enough time to do much once you factored in the time taken for boarding and whatnot. Anyway, I'd managed to upgrade to a sleeper, and I was really jet lagged, so it was sort of an impulse buy. And the scenery on the Southwest Chief was it was fantastic. It was kind of like how I imagined every cowboy movie ever. Go watch the video if you don't get what I mean. You'll see what I mean. It's beautiful, beautiful scenery. The most scenic route that I have taken to date must be Amtrak's Coast Starlight between Los Angeles and Seattle. Whether or not I'll still be saying that after I hopefully take the California Zephyr later this year, I don't know. But the Coast Starlight can be separated into two sections. Much of the first day is spent following the beautiful Pacific coastline between LA and the San Francisco Bay Area. On the morning of the second day, you'll awake to find yourself either in the northern part of California or in southern Oregon. It's not long after this, you'll find yourself in the Cascade Mountains, which are just simply stunning. If you're ever presented with the opportunity to do this journey by train, whether it be in sleeper, business class or coach, do it. You honestly won't regret it. I'll end on a question I get asked quite a bit, which is, should I take the Caledonian Sleeper or am I better off taking one of the daytime alternatives, whether that be LNER or Avanti? I really like the concept of sleeper trains, so I'm naturally inclined to want to recommend the sleeper option to you. That said, unless you really want to experience the Caledonian Sleeper, I just can't help but think that your money is better spent on a first class ticket with either LNER or Avanti. Even the most expensive first class tickets are usually cheaper than the cheapest sleeper option on the Caledonian Sleeper. What's more is that the daytime trains are high speed south of Edinburgh and Glasgow, whereas the sleeper only operates at speeds of up to 80 miles an hour. While that is perfectly normal for a sleeper train, I just think that the price that the Caledonian Sleeper are asking for, coupled with the onboard experience that they offer, just isn't worth parting with large amounts of money unless it's something you really want to do. Don't forget that both LNER and Avanti include all meals and drinks in the price of your ticket for first class passengers, something that Caledonian Sleeper do not. With that, thank you once again for helping me reach 10,000 subscribers, and beyond that, at the time of recording we're over 13,500, so I'd also like to apologise that this video is a bit belated. I've recently got a new computer for doing my videos on, so not only will you see better videos, but it's easier for me to record audio, so I thought I'd wait for the new computer to come to do this video to hopefully do a better job of it. If these Q&A videos prove to be popular, and I'll definitely consider doing another one in the future. Thanks once again for your support in these strange and weird times we find ourselves in, and stay safe.